Shut up and sit down.
What is going on, dads, and welcome to episode 7 of the Dads After Dark show, recorded on March 30th, 2020. We are your hosts, John and Sam, and thank you for joining us tonight for some Nintendo and social distancing. So Drew couldn't be on tonight. He's busy hoarding bells in Animal Crossing. I went out and tried to get Third Strongest Mole to be on the show, but he wasn't available. So then I went looking for Third Strongest Mole, who was also not available. So finally we had to settle on Third Strongest Mole. Sam, welcome to the show.
Hi, John. It's good to be here. I just want to set the record straight that I am the true Third Strongest Mole. There might be other people claiming to be the Third Strongest Mole, but I'm the real deal.
It's good to clarify that. What have you been shut in? Where are you? Are you in Indiana, if I remember right? Where are you?
Ohio.
Okay. I wasn't that far off.
Yeah, one state over.
What are your state laws right now? Have you been shut in for a week or two?
Yeah, we're pretty much shut down. We only essential services are operating. We are still allowed to be outdoors for exercise. So the funny thing is, especially last week, we had wonderful spring weather for the first time, and everybody was outside. So oddly enough, I think last week I socialized with my neighbors more than I usually would because everybody was desperate for, and we were kind of shouting at each other from 10 feet away, but
that's what I was going to ask.
Had the opposite effect, quarantine, and now everybody's actually talking to their neighbors.
Right. I know.
Oh, look, another human being.
Ohio was one of the big early states to kind of shut down, and we've been shut down here. We had a very proactive governor, and we've been shut down, and we've been very strict about it. Like, I have not talked to any neighbors in like 3 weeks, and I did some yard work yesterday, and because I could stay, on my grounds, and I don't even know what it's like if I went for a walk or something to like pass by somebody and what the protocol is, because some people are not going to be too crazy about it. So yeah, I'm curious. I like seeing these social situations you see pictured on social media where people are just purposefully standing. I saw one picture of these like 5 middle-aged people, and they formed a circle of seats in the driveway, and they were all like this big wide circle and just kind of talking loudly to one another. I just think it's a fascinating time right now.
Well, and the funny thing is, I have new next door neighbors that I just met Saturday.
Now wait, how do you meet new neighbors in this time frame? Is this like did they come to you?
My other next door neighbors are very sociable, and they're outside a lot because they garden. And so they flagged me down because I was just going for a bike ride. And then they saw the new neighbors walking their dog back, and they said, "Oh, let me introduce you to Sam. He lives in the house right next to yours." And so, I met my new neighbors during the quarantine.
It is such a weird time. Have you so what have you been playing? Have you how are you passing your time? I assume maybe playing some video games, or what else are you doing? Like how do you
I am still working. I was working 4 days a week from home before any of this happened. Mm-hmm. So they basically canceled our Wednesday come to the office and have meetings all day. We've been trying to do conference calls in lieu of that, and it hasn't really worked. So, I mean, for me, not a whole lot's changed, except that there's less to do outside of, I sit at my desk and work, and then I go play Switch. And, well, good thing we have Animal Crossing, because I check on my town when I wake up, I check on my town at lunch, and I usually go do some fishing or whatever, or go do some Mystery Island tours right after I wrap up my work for the day. So,
what did you name your town?
So my town is named Third Home, I had to work something in there. My New Leaf town was actually named Own It, or One It, or however you pronounce it.
I always say
First
Own
town
It.
in Earthbound.
Yeah.
To this day, I don't know how. I don't think there's a consensus on it. I mean, it's supposed to be a one, but One It sounds weird.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah.
that was, and because you are the mayor, and because the town in Earthbound has a mayor who has a name, I named my character Perkle, because Mayor Perkle is the mayor of On It.
Oh my gosh, is it?
But I couldn't do that because it's an island now, and we're like, call me a lousy Mother fan, but I didn't even think to name it Nowhere after the island in Mother 3.
Oh.
But yeah, it's third home, and I actually took a screenshot of the Guardian Digger from Earthbound with the background behind him and put that through the Pattern website, and that is now my town flag.
Oh, kudos to you for going all the way with that. You know that one of the first things I noticed with Animal Crossing, and this is our first show since Animal Crossing came out, was I kind of assumed that I'd have to name my island like something island. And I went to go do it because I always name. So my island is named Daventry, which is named after King's Quest. That's where all the King's Quest games take place.
Okay.
And I was going to name it Daventry Island because, I don't know, just like leading up to the game, everyone was talking about, naming their island. And you get a remarkably low amount of characters.
Well, the crazy thing is that it's
name.
actually increased from previous games.
Is it really?
Before it was like 8, and now it's 10.
Ooh. Yeah, I don't know, it's weird. You can't name, something island. I don't know. It's kind of weird. So everybody's island still sounds like a town or something like that. But yeah, I mean, I guess you can squeeze in Isle. But I mean, what, you'd have 5 characters left? I don't know.
Oh.
A little disappointing there. So you've been playing Animal Crossing?
Yeah, Animal Crossing, for the most part, I just wrapped up Ori just in time for Animal Crossing. So if
wait, the first Ori on Switch or
the
new
second
one?
So I played Blind Forest just before it came out. Yeah, I've been really into Xbox Game Pass on PC because I've always been kind of a Nintendo and PC guy. Never really cared about Xbox, but Microsoft made me suddenly care about the Xbox brand because that's just a good deal. And if you play a lot of games and you play a wide variety of games, I actually got in right before their trial deal ended, where it was $1 for 3 months.
Oh my
God. I'm still getting that 3 months right now. And I've played through Outer Worlds. I've played through Ori, both Ori games. And I've played a handful of other games partially. So it's it really was a blessing in the previous drought that suddenly has given way to a flood of new games for Switch.
Yeah, that seems to be the way it is. You get a little bit of a drought on the Nintendo side, and
it's always the first couple months of the year. I mean, that's 3 years in a row. I mean, the Switch launch year, we didn't even have the Switch until March. So
that's true. What a drought it was. We had the Wii U.
And nothing was coming out on Wii U.
So when I played Ori and the Blind Forest, I played it on the Switch. I actually have always... I remember Ori and Cuphead were the 2 games that were drawing me to the Xbox One, and I just resisted because I didn't want to buy hardware and buy controllers and all that jazz. And but then when they announced Cuphead was coming to the Switch, it was like, okay, I guess I'm not getting an Xbox One. And then they brought over Ori. When I played Ori, I got to say, after I enjoyed it, and at first it wasn't what I thought. I had spent a lot of time knowing that I wanted to play Ori. I'd heard nothing but good things about it. And then when I finally played it, it really didn't even, when they announced it, I didn't even recognize the trailer until they wrote Ori on the screen. And then when I played it, I was like, what is this? There's this big story in the beginning. And I was like, what is this? And then I sort of liked it. And then about 3 hours in, I was like, I don't really like this game. People like this game. I didn't love it. But I kept going because, that's how I do it. So, and this is why you keep going. So I kept going. And then at some point, I think it was right after I got one of those power-ups that really opens the world up. Man, I was like, okay, this is really good. I got really into it. And then by the end, I mean, I'm in literal tears at the end. And it's just wow, what a game. Like, that was an incredible game. So I have to ask now, what did you think about Ori 2?
So for me, the first Ori it absolutely is a good game, but I kind of feel, and I'm talking about Blind Forest, the first one here. Mm-hmm. I kind of feel like it is. I feel similar about it as I do to Celeste. Like, people love Celeste, and I just kind of like it. Like, it's a good game. I get why people love it, but it just didn't click with me the way it did for some people. Like, it's absolutely not a game you should just skip. I think everybody should play it that has a chance to play it. But Will o' the Wisps absolutely did click with it. I actually thought about, like, if I was writing a review, like, how would I, these are the things I would point out that I don't quite like about Blind Forest. And then I played Will o' the Wisp, and I'm like, oh man, it's like they took my list and they improved everything that I didn't like. So yeah, that's, and speaking of reviews, I actually published a review on my blog, which launched recently. So anybody listening wants to check that out.
I may check that out. Although I
purchased the domain name thirdstrongestmole.com, so you can find it there.
I'm surprised it was available.
It was available.
I'll probably pass, because when I know I'm going to play a game, I never watch a review.
Okay.
But as I always do, I will watch it the moment I play through the game. I'm a delayed reviewer.
Review, so I don't know about video editing, so I just use words and screenshots.
Yeah. That's interesting about, like Celeste had the same effect on me as Ori. I mean, like reduced me to tears. Celeste did that throughout most of the game. A lot of, even just like when the vocal dialogue in Celeste is happening, and they do a really good job with like, I'm going to call it the Simlish, the way they do sort of, it's not really vocal dialogue, it just sounds like it. They do a great job with that on Celeste, because they really tweak the tones. Like, when she's sad, you hear it. When she's happy, you hear it. And even some of that would, like, make me tear up, just because they did such a great, job with that. But Ori didn't make me just sob until, like, the very end. I won't. Well, I mean,
it kind of is. It's very bookended in terms of the story. Like, the gameplay is just because it's a Metroidvania game. I mean, it's pretty open, so you can run around and do what you want. So there's not a whole lot of, like, forced story beats in there. So yeah, I mean, that's part of it. But I mean, I'm not a huge story guy, but they did a good job with this, and I appreciate it all the more because it is, it's very to the point. But even so, you don't need a whole lot. You don't need hours of cutscenes to tell a good story.
Absolutely.
You can do it in a couple well put together scenes.
Yeah. I think Ori had what I've seen in other games too, where sometimes you're playing the game and there's so few story beats, you kind of like lose track of what the story is until like some moment where the story really advances and you're like, oh yeah, I forgot I was trying to get to this tree. But it just wraps up the story to a point where the ending is so good, you almost immediately want to replay the game to follow the story again. You're like, oh, that was an incredible ending. Wait, I want to play through the story again and make sure I got it straight. But
I will say the ending of Blind Forest, and I obviously I don't want to spoil anything, but the way the fate of the villain wraps up, just kind of, it's like a haunting image that I can still see clearly.
Yeah, it sticks with you. That's fantastic. I don't want to be too happy about talking about games because I played a game last week called Oninaki. And I'd like to talk about it for a little bit. This is a game
familiar. I don't.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember what it is.
So first there was I Am Setsuna. That was a launch title on the Switch. It was a port, but it was a launch title on the Switch.
I know it.
And then there was oh god, I'm forgetting, Lost Sphere. And these games were published by Square Enix. They were developed by a company called Tokyo RPG and Tokyo RPG Factory, I believe. And I played I Am Setsuna. I have really good memories I Am Setsuna. It is not the best RPG that you'll ever play, but it was the first game I ever played on the Nintendo Switch, and it was launch night. I didn't have any games physically, so I didn't have my Zelda yet. And I played I Am Setsuna. I remember it like very clearly. It was like 1 a.m, and I'm playing this wintry snow game, and I was just blown away by the resolution of the Switch. I was like, after playing the 3DS for so many years, I was like, oh my God, this is what games look like. And I played through I Am Setsuna a little bit, and then I played Breath of the Wild, and then I came back to it. I played through all of I Am Setsuna. Has a good story. Not too long of a game. I think it was about 15, 20 hours, that sort of thing. It definitely ends and you go, oh, it's over already? Okay. But I enjoyed it, and it's a game I'd like to play again. It's like an RPG. It's 2D, and it's it kind of harkens back like a Super Nintendo era type game. But I really liked it. Skipped Lost Sphere, but Oninaki was announced in a direct a year and a half ago, I think. And it looked really good, and I knew it was like, oh, it's Square Enix, and I was super excited for it. And I was ready to play it day one, and the day it came out, it got some lukewarm reviews. It was getting 6s, 6.5s, and I was disappointed. And I was like, you know what? Like with RPGs, I tend to look at the reviews because this is a game that's going to take 20, 30, 40 hours, and I don't want to get wrapped up in one if it's not going to be a really good game. So it was $50 on launch, and I was like, I'm not going to spend $50 on this game that's getting lukewarm reviews. I was very disappointed. Time passed. I kept it on my wish list for about a year and a half, and it finally got cut to about $30. And I was like, you know what? I've been wanting to play this game. I've had my eye on it for over a year. Let's play it. So I did, and it looks. Graphically, it looks good. So here's the thing. So, and they made a demo for this game that I played through, and the basic story is, you're some kind of death manager person. People die, and you help them move on.
I remember this from the trailer now.
Yeah, so you help them move on, and if you played the demo on the Switch, which I did when it came out, there's like this. The demo kind of goes on, and there's like this couple, and their young boy has not moved on because the young boy feels bad about the parents, and they have to like resolve the situation. And I won't say how they resolve the situation, but it's pretty shocking, and it definitely was a great end to the demo. And we'll talk about demos later, but it was definitely a great end to the demo because it made you thirsty to like see this whole story. And so yeah, I played through that again, and yeah, that's really it. Like, these people die and they have to move on, and there's usually, if there's something that keeps them away, it's like a purgatory. If there's something that keeps them from moving on, so like it might be that they were robbed or something, and they feel like this person needs to find justice, or they were part of a cult and they feel like the cult leader was being a little shady and they can't move on, and you go and you help them. And the big game mechanic is you can switch between the regular world and then this like Twilight world. And you can just do it like at a snap. You just press, I think it's like ZL, and you're in the Twilight world. So there's like two lands going on. It's kind of like Messenger. There's like these two worlds overlapping each other.
Or like Zelda.
And, yeah, or like Zelda.
Twilight Princess or Link to the Past.
Right, exactly. So the big problem I had with this game was not like the story per se, not the battling or anything. It was just that it was very unpolished. Loading times drove me crazy. The biggest thing that drove me crazy was you're walking along, and then you'll see your character put their sword in their sheath, and then it's like loading screen. And the loading screen, this bugs me in every game. The loading indicator should be smooth. Okay, guys? Your loading indicator should be on the main thread while the loading's in the background. When your loading indicator stutters, you've done something wrong. And this game, the loading indicator is like jerky and animates poorly. And because the loading times take so long, you see it a lot. So you're walking along, you sheath your sword. Oh, here it comes. Here's the loading screen. You wait around. And then you see some, sequence that's not well done, that has frame rate issues. And then the loading screen comes on. And then you're back in the overworld. And then you move like 2 feet. Loading indicator hits. Here comes another sequence. and the dialogue goes on and on and on and on, and all you want to do is just advance. It's not well done. So that's for one, that lack of polish. The second, and this bugged me because it's an RPG, it's not like turn-based battle or anything like that. It feels like Diablo. You're walking around and you have a sword and you're slash, 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 and you're just grind. And then the bosses recycle a lot. You will fight these big characters over and over and over, and then they'll kind of switch the skins out over and over and over. There's a few times where you finish a boss battle and then they immediately launch you into another boss battle, which stinks because you have a limit to how many health vials that you can use. And I am telling you, man, this game became such a grind. I just kept playing because I just spent $30 on it, and I'm not gonna quit. I did have some fun with the game loop of I just like slashing through the enemies. It kind of became mindless after a while. I would sit around and just grind, just beat up enemies, go to the health point, beat up enemies, go to the health point, save. And so I kind of like had some soothing grinding going on, but man, like the bosses were so boring and repetitive. The story went on forever. It wasn't good. The ending, there's multiple endings, and the choices you make are really right at the end. I was going through, I won't spoil anything, but nobody's going to play. But please, if you're listening to this, don't play Oninaki, okay? Maybe I'll spoil it so you won't. So at the very end, there you come up to the final boss, and she asks you a question. And it's one of those questions like, will you fight me for what's right, or will you join me in our evil, right? It's not, too complicated. But I was like pressing A through the dialogue, and the question came up, and I'm pressing A, and I hit, I will join you. And I was like, oh no, what did I pick? And then she says a few more lines, and then the credits roll. It was like, are you kidding me? Like they let you bypass an entire final battle because you joined her. So I had to sit there for like 10 minutes for the credits to go.
There's games that do that. Usually you can skip the credits, though. I mean, like Cuphead does that, actually. You can join the devil, and then you just get a little picture of evil Cuphead and Mugman, and that's it. It's game over, and you don't fight the devil.
Well, but you can't. Look, I was so happy to see the credits rolling, but I had to wait for the credits to end, and then I went back to my save and then answered the question the right way, and then fought this boss for 20 minutes, and then beat her. And then I think they give you another choice too after that. Oh yeah, they give you a choice after you beat the final boss. She asks, like, you basically have to decide because of the story if you want to kill yourself or not kill yourself. And I won't explain why, but I'll spoil it enough just so you never play it. And I elected to kill myself because I felt like at that time I wanted to. And so I did, and I got an ending. And I could have redone my save and tried the other one, but at that point I was like, I felt good that I went back and beat the boss. So, yeah, Oninaki, don't play it. It's not worth it. It's really a shame. It looked like it was going to be really
not going to now.
No, don't.
Now that I both remember what it is and have heard your complaints.
It was just so painful. It's just so painful. I dare people to play it. And then last night I started playing Bloodstained for the first time, the real Bloodstained, not the Curse of the Moon, but the new one. And I think I bought. It's the
Curse of the Moon is great though.
I love that. I love that game. I feel like, is that the title or is that the Castlevania? I played the retro one. I loved it. I played through it like 3 times. Mm-hmm. This one I think came out in the summer, and then the Switch version had major issues.
Yeah, I canceled my Switch pre-order and got it on Steam because I heard about the issues.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's probably pretty smart. Yeah, I waited for the big patches to come out and then waited more time, and then I finally was able to get to it. And I have to say, I really like it. It's got some polish issues, I would say. The dialogue is murderously boring. It does not belong in a game like this. Like, they hype it as, it's like the return of Castlevania or Symphony of the Night. And it does. It's great. I love exploring and finding all the rooms, and, you get to change weapons and items. Anytime you have to talk to somebody in this game is just murder. I can't believe.
I don't remember much of the dialogue. But I mean, yeah, I played it through. I think it's a pretty worthy successor to Castlevania. It actually delivers on what it was supposed to, by and large.
I think it will as well. I think your version probably is going to look a lot better than my Switch version. Mm-hmm. But I'm not really distracted by bad graphics. I was worried I'd be distracted by hideousness. The cutscenes are a little kind of bland. I mean,
they're all in engine, and the game just isn't designed for cutscenes. I mean, it's designed to pretty much be 2D.
Yeah, exactly. It's good. I think I'm really liking it. It's a good level of hard, but not impossible. I have some qualms about like some of the controls, like using I want to use the whip because that's just the Castlevania weapon. But a lot of times you use the whip and your character is like momentarily can't move. It feels a little.
It's slow.
Yeah.
I stuck mostly to swords, I think.
You do the swords. I'm doing I think I have a mace. It works really well, and it seems to be pretty fast. So I've been using the mace, but there's a good variety.
I actually did New Game Plus because that made it easier for me to get 100% on the map. By the time I did that, I had a lot of materials. There's one, it's like a crossbow. It's one of the ranged weapons, and it homes, and it makes short work of everything.
So you just like run across and just keep like, spamming it, and it just
pretty much
finds all the enemies. Nice.
Well, you can't like fire while running, but you can fire while jumping forward. So,
How long is this game? Like, to roll credits, you think?
I think if you're going through the first time and you're being kind of methodical and you're trying to get a lot of stuff, probably like just under 20 hours.
Okay, that's about what I thought. Okay, yeah, I really like it. Like I said, I think it could use a little more polish. I'd love to see how it plays on some other systems. And I know one thing, when I finish, I'm absolutely going to delete it from my Switch and then run it right off the cart to see what the original version was like, because I'm just dying to know how improved the game is. So I'll probably play 5 minutes off the cart just to see like how crappy was this game when it was originally launched. Dying to know. So a little something happened a few days ago, March 26th. We're all waking up and, probably going to enjoy a day of where the heck is the Direct. And the next thing you know, coming across my Twitter is, hey, there's a mini Direct. And here it is. And I had just started my work day. And I'm just like in shock. And I'm like shouting out to my wife and my kids. I'm like, there's a Direct. And my wife's like, oh, when is it? And I go, it's like now. And we got a mini Direct. How exciting is that?
It's pretty exciting. Although the mini is always like, okay, should I not be excited? Like, what does a mini mean?
I don't know. What do you? I felt like like when I saw the mini, I was like, oh, it's not going to be too exciting.
And I guess that is like Nintendo saying, okay, walk it back. This isn't, this isn't going to be Breath of the Wild 2.
Yeah. But man, it was like 25 minutes and we got some good games. So let's kind of go through this here. So let's go through this list of games and like, I want to know what your thoughts are on these, which ones you're going to play. What did you think of them as they were announced? And obviously the first game that got announced was, not announced, but we knew about it. But we actually got some pretty significant footage. Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. This is the original version that was on the Wii and then ported to the 3DS. It looks incredibly better than the old graphics. Did you play this game?
No, I did not. And I will be honest, I saw people talking in Discord before I'd started the video, so I was, a little behind some of them. I saw Xenoblade. I saw the collector's edition was announced and all that. I'm like, okay, I don't really need to know about any of this. I actually skipped that part of the video. I skipped the first couple minutes and say, okay, I know about Xenoblade, sure.
You're just trying to avoid any more spoilers. You didn't care.
Xenoblade is not for me.
Oh, wow.
I suspect I would like the original better than 2. 2 is the one I've played. And I have
you play
mentioned this before.
all the way through 2?
You raised a question at some point about hate playing a game to completion, and for me, that game is Xenoblade 2.
So
and,
you did finish
understand.
it.
I didn't hate it that much, but the fact that I put 80 hours of my life into it and wound up just not really liking it made me hate it. I kept the game to get really good, and it never happened.
I no, you know what, Sam? I totally see it. I'm not going to fight you on that. Xenoblade is definitely a game. I have a weird history with Xenoblade. I played the first Xenoblade on my Wii. I played for about 5 hours, and then just sort of stopped. And then when they brought it over to the 3DS, I played like 15 hours of it, and was really enjoying it. But then I stopped, because it was cramping up my hands, because those controls got ported to the 3DS. It was not comfortable.
Man. Yes.
Then I played Xenoblade 2. I wasn't interested in X, but I played Xenoblade 2 when I came on the Switch. I played day 1. I played about 20 hours, maybe, it was like 25 hours on the Switch, and stopped. I got so frustrated with it, I immediately deleted my save file so that I would not be tempted to continue it. And so at this point, I am like 45 hours into Xenoblade games and never finished anything. And then a few months later, it finally I gotta play Xenoblade. It just looks so good. And I went through it 60 hours and played it. So I played 100 hours of Xenoblade games and finished just the second one. And I love the second one. Definitely that battle system is a little difficult. But I am super excited. I really actually love the first game. The graphics, when I played it, the graphics looked way out of date. But the story was really cool in the beginning, and it kind of has a different kind of start than Xenoblade 2. I am super excited for this. I will be playing it day 1. And they also announced Future Connected, which is an epilogue. I'm not sure what's going to be in that story, because I don't think the Xenoblade games connect.
Yeah, I mean, I guess people are excited for this that are big fans, but I have to think there's got to be some moderate Xenoblade fans that are like, wait, to get the new content, I have to play the entire game again?
I think you don't. I think they said the Future Connected.
Is it separated?
Yes, it is.
Kind of like the
unlocked.
DLC. You can just play it from the menu.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a separate piece of content, I think, but I also know that you can play it initially. You can play it right from the beginning. That
makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
That's cool then. It's always, one of my complaints about remakes is if there's nothing new and I've already played it, either I passed on it before because I wasn't interested before and I'm probably not now, or, I've played it and I can just play the original. If it's just graphical improvements, I'm not gonna bite.
I totally agree with that. Sometimes a remaster doesn't really do it. The graphical update between this and the original is pretty massive. But if I had finished the first game, I'm not sure my interest level would be here. But man, I didn't have any interest in going back and playing Xenoblade, but now that they've redone it, I am absolutely going to play it. So I'm pretty excited for that one. So the next announcement really should have been, I think, one of the biggest announcements in the Direct. The announcement of the Borderlands, BioShock, and XCOM 2 collections. When they were rolling this on the screen, I recognized some of the symbology. I'd seen it before. I couldn't tell you what it was. And I recognized BioShock Infinite because that was a game I've always wanted to play because of the side character. And I recognize Borderlands because I have a friend who's absolutely addicted, talking thousands of hours into Borderlands. Mm-hmm. But as it was going by, I could not figure out what I was looking at. I couldn't tell the games. I couldn't tell it all. What did you think about this?
Well, the funny thing is, I recognized all these games. I didn't realize they were collections that were coming. I thought they were doing separate, like the way Square did all the Final Fantasy games separate.
Yeah.
But that makes it more appealing to me, just because it's always more economic. You're getting a lot for your dollar.
Correct.
I'm probably not going to buy any of these. I mean, I have XCOM 2 already. I love XCOM 2. I recommend it to anyone that thinks it looks cool. Mm-hmm. But I mean, BioShock, Borderlands. I don't really play shooters that aren't named Splatoon. So
Yep. So just to catch everybody up, the Borderlands collection includes Borderlands, Borderlands 2, and then Borderlands the pre-sequel, which according to my friend is like a Borderlands 1.5. Kind of bridges the stories. The BioShock collection is BioShock, BioShock 2, and BioShock Infinite. And the XCOM 2 collection is just the game with the DLCs and the expansion War of the Chosen. That one's pretty meaty because you have the game, 4 DLCs, and that expansion. So I assume that's going to take in the range of hundreds of hours. I am super excited about Borderlands and BioShock, but I am going to play the heck out of XCOM 2. I am stoked for that.
So the DLC in that game works. It's kind of rolled into the campaign, but there are options to turn it off. Basically, there's special missions that'll show up.
Okay, good.
And you'll have the opportunity to do them. It's very much to your benefit to do them. And War of the Chosen especially, it even changes the whole like progression of the campaign.
I'm so excited.
Because if you know how XCOM works, there's the whole like world thing where you're sort of taking back countries from the aliens, and you know they're also like constructing new bases, and there's a lot. So War of the Chosen adds these like completely new factions to that map. So it very much changes the way things play out. So you can sort of get everything at once just by playing the game, but you also do have the option to disable it if you.
Okay, cool. I am so super excited for it because I played Mario and Rabbids, and that's the game that everyone compares to XCOM. And I loved Mario and Rabbids. I 100% of the thing. It took me like 2 years, but I 100% of the whole thing. And I've always wanted to play XCOM, but it wasn't like super accessible to me. I'm not really a PC gamer. Yeah. But just having this in a collection, being able to play it on my Switch, because games like this that take, you know, dozens and dozens and dozens of hours, I do so much better with portable. It's just easier to play. And just the fact that it includes all the DLCs and everything. So I probably, what I'll do is what I usually do. I'll usually turn off the DLCs if I can, because I just want to experience the core game. I feel like if you play with all of the expanded content, the game just feels really long. I need to finish it and then sort of introduce them in. So, but I'm so super excited for this. I'm not going to play it day one because that comes out the same day as Xenoblade Chronicles, which is going to be, considering how many games are coming out for the Switch in the first half of the year, I mean, 10 games and an epilogue come out on the same day? Are you kidding me? So May 29th is just going to be incredible. But yeah, I'm super excited for it. So you're not going to play any of these?
I'm not gonna. Yeah, I mean, I've played XCOM 2. Yeah. This might encourage me to get back, because I never actually like played the whole campaign with War of the Chosen. I started one. I got like a third of the way through, and I was like, okay, I'll do something else now.
You played so much. Yeah, and I'm excited. The BioShock and Borderlands are there. I'm probably not going to play them. I've heard incredible things about Borderlands 2, and I've heard incredible things about BioShock and BioShock 2. It's Infinite that always impressed me. I can't remember which YouTuber I watched, but I saw them talking about Infinite, and I really love that side character there and the way she helps you go through. But I probably won't. I'm not good with first-person games. I don't play shooters like you. But man, XCOM. These games, by the way, are all $50 each, which isn't bad because they're collections. So they're not full retail. Yeah, they're ports and everything, but they're not full retail. And there's plenty of. I mean, each of these is going to take you hundreds of hours, each one. But I think 50 is fair. I was kind of hoping for 40, but I'm definitely going to get XCOM 2. I'm so excited for that, and I hope the Mario Rabbids comparisons. Did you play Mario and Rabbids?
Yeah, I did. I liked Mario and Rabbids. It's one of those games that nobody asked for, but I'm so glad it exists.
It's so good. Oh man, it's so good.
But XCOM is a good deal harder though. For one, characters die permanently.
Oh really?
Permanently. There's a chance to save them. Right. If they die with like a critical, they're just dead. But if they go down and you get somebody to like patch them up, they'll be wounded. They won't be able to deploy for a couple missions, and then they'll come back.
Okay.
But there's progression independent of that. You get new technology, so you get new weapons independent. But your guys do level up if they get experience and stuff. So it's kind of And there is Iron Man mode if you really want to restart.
No, I never do hard modes. It just ruins
Iron
it
Man
for me.
is one save.
Oh God, forget it. No, that's never happening. Sam, I can't even accentuate how excited I am for it. I'm so excited for it. When this announcement came out, I had tweeted with our NDads After Dark account on Twitter that I thought it was odd that 2K announced 3 collections and then smashed them all into this like 1-minute trailer. I felt like they should have slow rolled it, maybe release, Borderlands, do a little trailer with a little Borderlands tease, maybe make a new trailer for the Switch, because the Nintendo audience is not familiar with either of these games. None of these games have been on a Nintendo platform. And so I thought maybe announce Borderlands, highlight Borderlands, share the characters of Borderlands, have them talk to you in the trailer. And, this is Borderlands on the Switch, and get people excited. And then maybe in a couple months, bring BioShock and then bring XCOM. I just kind of felt like smashing these all together at one time, and let alone doing it on the same day as Xenoblade was a big mistake. I think they'll get lost.
I kind of disagree.
Yeah.
I mean, I think because these are ports, these are games that you can play elsewhere, the release date doesn't really need to be spread out, so to speak, because I mean, if I was really dying to play XCOM 2, I would have already bought it on PC by now, right? If just playing that game is all I want. Now, if I want to play it on portable, if I'm just such a big fan that I want to play it when I'm on the train, when I'm on a plane, when I'm going about my day, and I want it on Switch too, or if I, don't have a fancy PC and don't want to buy one, but now it's on Switch, I can get it. But, these are games that exist. They've been advertised. Yeah. I don't think, because part of that whole thing of, playing when everybody else is playing, that sort of gets softened when this is a game that, your friends who have an Xbox have already played it years ago.
Right. I mean, I get that. I just feel like there's a lot of gamers. I know a lot of people that will only play Nintendo systems. Like Drew is one of them. If he plays Nintendo systems, he doesn't have a PlayStation. He doesn't have an Xbox. I'm a little different. I usually have a Nintendo system, and then I usually have a PlayStation. But I'm not a PC gamer. And XCOM 2 is a game that I think I would have been interested in. I didn't really know about it until Mario and Rabbids came out. And it was a game I was interested in, but nothing was throwing me over the edge to getting it. I wasn't going to go download it on my computer. So when this comes to Switch, it becomes immediately more accessible to me. I just feel like, and what you're saying is totally valid. These are definitely old games, and especially with Borderlands, because Borderlands 3 just came out a few months ago. But I just felt like a lot of people didn't even know what games were released. And this is Borderlands got announced for the Switch. This is a huge deal. And people didn't even know what games were there. Is it the original? Oh, it's the Legacy Collection. What's in the Legacy Collection? It really would have helped. Maybe if the trailer just would have put the names of the games one after another.
It would have been nice to say just Borderlands Collection with Borderlands plus Borderlands 2 plus the pre-sequel. Right.
Yeah, because your market, obviously they would love to sell these games to people who have played Borderlands, because now you can play it portably. I know a lot of people who played Borderlands 2 are going to get Borderlands 2 on the Switch. But there's a lot of people who aren't familiar with these games, and throwing Legacy Collection at them is just a little weird. It's just please explain to me what I'm looking at. Really had to Google this stuff to find out. So I think they could have improved that trailer a little bit. Maybe if they split the 3 up throughout the direct, do the Borderlands one near the beginning, and then in the middle come back and here's BioShock, and then later on here's XCOM. Hey, make it 30 minutes long. And
I'm somebody who just I appreciate ports to an extent, but I don't get real excited about them ever, even if it's something I want to buy and play. Mm-hmm. It's just well, okay, that's cool. It's a port. Now I can play it on Switch. Cool. So I appreciate that they kind of just got through this quickly, because if I spent 10 minutes watching a direct going, oh, port, I would have been oh, this is the worst direct ever.
Yeah, maybe you're right. I definitely could have been Nintendo's decision how to present it. All right, moving on. They announced some expanded content for Ultimate Alliance 3: The Black Order. And then they dropped a game that I don't think anybody really saw coming. It's a game called Shinsekai Into the Depths. Did I pronounce that right? Shinsekai.
It sounded right to me.
This game came out about 6 months ago, a mobile game, which is really strange. Very interesting looking. What did you think about this one?
This one's that I'm keeping in the back of my head. I haven't bought it. I haven't downloaded it. But, if I just get tired of Animal Crossing somehow and don't have anything else to play, I might go back to this and give it a try. It looks like something that's filling a somewhat unique niche. You don't see a lot of games that are entirely underwater. Most people hate water levels in games. So, but it's Metroidvania. I mean, I see Metroidvania and I usually like it.
I agree with you there, the Metroidvania. It's $19.99. It's gotten some good early reviews from Nintendo dads. Marty and Tim both grabbed it, and they've both been playing it, and both seem to really like it.
I was watching a little bit of Tim's Let's Play. It did seem interesting that there was like crafting in it and stuff. Like it's not really 100% what I expected, but it's kind of more interesting.
Yeah, what really struck me about it was the user interface. Like just at the beginning, like I was watching the beginning of that Let's Play, and I like the way the buttons sort of like kind of move a little bit because the game's all underwater, so that it's just very thematic all the way around. I thought it's definitely very interesting looking. Yeah, that's definitely a might play. It looks really interesting. Next thing that came across was Animal Crossing content, which is very topical. They are teasing some. It's clearly Easter content.
Bunny Day.
Yeah, and there is a character named Zipper T Bunny that comes to your island. He's a very horrifying looking rabbit. Mm-hmm. And basically there's an Easter egg hunt that goes on. You can do. I'm pretty excited about it. All the crafting you can do with all the Easter stuff. So I'm really interested to see.
I actually kind of predicted this myself. Like I was like, I wonder if they're going to push crafting for these holiday events, especially once I heard it was going to go over because they revealed that a little before the Direct. Like the Easter event's going to run from April 1st to the 11th, I think.
Okay.
And I was like, I wonder if they're just going to let you like collect stuff and just craft the special items out of it. And it looks like that's how it works. So you find Easter eggs and you get to pick what you want to make out of your Easter eggs. And if you want to spend the time to find lots of eggs, then you can probably craft the whole set.
It looks interesting. When I created my Animal Crossing island, I said I'm going to make it one giant miniature golf course. This way I can kind of theme every hole. And I think I'm falling away from that idea just because it's going to take me forever, and I don't think I'll put in 1,000 hours in Animal Crossing. But this reminds me that the best way to decorate in any Animal Crossing, in this Animal Crossing game, because you can decorate all over your island, is to just have little sections, almost like a little Disneyland, little sections all with different themes. And, everyone's going to have this little nook on their island with Easter eggs, and it'll stay there forever. It's going to be...
It very well might. I'm excited to see how the other holidays work and how that's all going to shape up. And really, like, I don't think I've ever met Zipper T Bunny in any Animal Crossing game. Because usually I play for like 2 months and I drop it. So and usually I think most of the time those 2 months were in winter or summer. So I'll see if I can stick. I want to be in this for the long haul, but we might have other games come out, and then I'll have to make decisions.
Yeah, I'm definitely playing it. Like most days, I just play it like the minimum I need to kind of advance and whatever. But I'm going to try to go a whole year, so I can see all the holidays, and then that'll be the end of it. But that looks cool. I mean, Animal Crossing seems to be a huge hit.
It's
everybody's
good to
playing
get that reminder out there, so people who haven't picked it up are like, oh yeah, this has holidays and stuff. Exactly,
and the game is only like 10 days old, and there's already all this content coming.
Already shattering sales records.
Oh my God, everybody's playing it. It's crazy. I mean, it helps that there's nothing else out, but yeah, it's great. Next game that came out, Good Job. It looks like another one of those Overcooked type games, multiplayer. Nintendo, they put out the Stretchers a few months back.
Yeah, this is Nintendo published too.
Yeah, well, it seems like they're picking up these indies and going for these couch op games, which I'm really excited about.
Nintendo's always invested more in couch co-op, I think, than anyone else. When everybody else was, online is the future, Nintendo's like, no.
Yeah.
Play with people in your house.
Oh, my God. I'm glad they are. I've heard this game's pretty good. The Stretchers put me to sleep the first time I played it. I actually kind of fell asleep while playing it, but I was probably tired at the time. I still want to play through it. I know that game was really short. I think this game's a little more involving, but I've heard good things about it. Yeah, looks really good. Graphics look smooth.
Yeah, this one looks kind of like Shinsekai. Kind of keep it in the back of my mind. I kind of like to. This is one I wouldn't mind just watching someone else play.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, don't have to play. Is it I know it's multiplayer. I'm not sure if it's. Whenever I think of Overcooked, I think 4-player. Mm-hmm. I've never quite seen a couch op game as good as Overcooked, but there's been so many attempts at it lately. Someone's gonna nail it at some point. I don't know. Make me stop. The next announcement had me shouting in my chair. Catherine Full Body is coming out July 7th. This is a port of Catherine Full Body, which came out this year, which was an expansion of a game, more like a definitive edition of a game that came out several years ago. I was super excited about this because I watched the Completionists video of Catherine a couple years ago, and I was fascinated with it. I mean, it has an interesting story. It's definitely a Dad's After Dark story, but it's mostly like a puzzle game. And it reminds me of Pushmo a little bit, but I've never quite played it, but everybody who plays it really loves it. And I've always wanted to play it and get into the story because the story does seem accessible and tangible in a world where, stories tend to be so esoteric and foreign. But really excited. This game's coming out in July. Perfect time. I don't want it out right now. I have other things to play. Definitely going to pick it up and probably start at day one. Did this one catch your fancy at all?
No, this just isn't really a me game. I think maybe I never hear people talk too much about the actual gameplay, so that's part of it. I've heard good things about the story, but I'm I don't think it's really something I can relate to or get much out of. So
right,
I'll just some games aren't for everybody.
Exactly. What's funny about this game is, and I look at it, I see it's a puzzle game, but they've just wrapped it around this R-rated content. And it's if you try to just unravel it a bit and look at it as just a puzzle game, you go, would I play this if this were just a duck climbing blocks, and you'd be probably not. It's really sort of the M-rated content, which kind of draws you in. And then you go, oh, so I don't want to play this game because of the content. I want to think that there's a fun puzzle game that's below it. But yeah, I'm definitely buying it. In fact, I only have 3 Xbox 360 games, and one of them is Catherine, because I always thought I was going to play it, but I haven't. So I'll definitely give it a go. Oh, and by the way, it comes out with a keychain. So if you're like tchotchkes in your games, that one does come out with a pretty cool keychain. So yeah, keep an eye out for that one, July. Next thing, this game has a shocker. New Ring Fit content.
Coming at the perfect time because Ring Fit people cannot get enough of right now.
Well, there is an irony that in this time of being shut in, you not only can't find Switches in stores, you can't find Ring Fit in stores either, which is a real shame. And in a boardroom at Nintendo, they are kicking themselves because how many people would be buying Ring Fit right now? They would make that the viral campaign of all time. Are you shut in? Order Ring Fit.
Well,
and you can exercise
the thing is, if they overstocked it, without knowing this was going to happen, it would have been nonsense to say we need, several 100,000 more,
right?
Copies of Ring Fit.
There was no reason to believe that this was going to be a successful game, but this was one of the games of the year last year in my mind. I've been playing it since when it came out. So there's 3 bits of new content. There is a new rhythm game that comes along with it. Very cool. I definitely have been a proponent of reusing the Ring Con in another game at some point. And this is not a whole new game, obviously, but it's new game content. It's kind of
uses Nintendo music too from other games.
It does, yeah. They also added new voices, including female voice. Previously, there was only the one. And then they have custom levels where you can just run through levels jogging only.
I think that crossover music is kind of interesting because, I mean, you think about what's the audience for Ring Fit. It probably goes a bit broader than, you know, the Nintendo hardcore that are waiting for the next Zelda trailer, right? So I think Nintendo's intentionally positioning. I mean, these people. I mean, obviously they know who Mario is, but they might not know there's a game out called Mario Odyssey, and it's got this jazzy song called, you know, Jump Up Superstar in it that sounds really catchy.
Yeah.
And they're probably listening to Splatoon like, what the heck is this? But maybe some people will pick up Splatoon because of this, and that makes me happy.
Yeah, I don't know. I totally agree with, like, these are like ads in Ring Fit. I don't know if anybody would be like, I only play the Switch for Ring Fit. There was definitely a lot of that with the Wii. A lot of people had the Wii and nothing but exercise games. So I've played all this content. I still play Ring Fit daily. And I was excited to play the rhythm game. I have to say, I was disappointed in all of this. The rhythm game is extremely tough. It is the physically toughest rhythm game that you'll play, even on novice. But it's, you know, you have to do squats and all sorts of very physical moves, and with a ring con that has a lot of tension on it. Most of the songs, like 70% of the songs, are just like music from Ring Fit. I mean, this is just like when you do a battle sequence, and like you've heard these songs. If you play Ring Fit daily, you've heard these songs a million times and you're sick of them. They're fine. They're not, it's nothing like, oh, I hate this song. Oh, it's killing the game. But it's just like, I don't need to hear this anymore. I don't need to dance to this. I played the Splatoon and the Mario Odyssey. They're both fine. The Splatoon's like a medley. But I played it once and I don't know if I'll get back to it. I really wasn't that excited about it. The new voices were a bit disappointing. The female voice sound, first of all, it took me the span of like 3 days to find out how to change the voice. The menu is so hidden. I didn't even know it was there. And I've played like almost 50 hours of Ring Fit. But the female voice is like a modulated version of the male voice. I don't know if it's a new voice. They just kind of modulated it to sound a little more high pitched. So I immediately turned it off because I was going to switch to the female voice, but no. And then the jog only levels, you know, when did Ring Fit come out? Was it September? It was a long time ago. I've been playing almost every day since then, and I still haven't beaten the game. That's how long the game is. People don't realize how long this game is. It goes on forever. And that's fine because it's a game you should be playing for years if that's what you're doing.
I mean, so if you want to get in shape, you're going to have to stick with it for a while.
Yeah, I remember being up to like level 50 and thinking, man, I got to be close to the end of this game. I am level 150. That is my level right now. I'm on world 18. My wife is on world like 23. It's crazy. So
well, I haven't played Ring Fit, but I always thought like that is kind of genius because I mean, working out is real life grinding. So making it an RPG it makes sense.
I mean, it is beautiful. Each world you get through, it shows your completion percentage, and you can go back and they have like these little side quests you do. So it definitely pays to do it. It'll make the future worlds easier. It's an incredible game. Like I said, it's game of the year, one of the games of the year. But the jog only levels are interesting because I have no motivation to do a jog only level because you can't do that in the campaign. So maybe once I finish the campaign, I'll do the jogging levels, and maybe Nintendo timed this for the people who have played every day would be beating the game right about now. Because I know I took a break a little bit, especially when we're doing the monthly mayhem. But so maybe they timed this for those people that are just finishing the game now. But I have like no incentive to play the jog only level. Why should I burn precious calories when I can be doing that productively to level myself up in the campaign? So we'll see when I roll credits, if I go back to sort of these things, and maybe I'll go through the rhythm game and work out that way for a little bit. So maybe that's what it's for. But I certainly hope they make a Ring Fit 2 or probably a whole different game that uses the Ring Con. It's been a great workout. I really love it. Okay, next one. This game, a lot of people weren't familiar with it. King's Bounty 2.
Yeah, I don't know anybody that had heard of the original King's Bounty, but according to the Direct, it's a series with a great history behind it.
It has a bounty.
So I mean, King's Bounty came out in 1990.
Wow, really? Wow.
But if you've heard of the Heroes in Might and Magic series, it kind of set the course for those. It's not like directly tied in, but like Heroes of Might and Magic is sort of like the spiritual successor / spin-off of it, apparently. So
wasn't Might and Magic, wasn't that related to D&D?
I mean, it's a medieval kind of fantasy setting. I don't know if it has any direct ties. I couldn't tell you.
Okay, I thought I had heard that, but I don't know if that's true.
This just kind of, I see a turn-based strategy game, and I'm like, okay, this looks. I mean, it seems like it's going for kind of a low fantasy kind of vibe. Mm-hmm. I guess there's still fantasy elements, but I mean, from the trailer at least, it was all people in pretty realistic-looking armor, just fighting with swords on horses, and I didn't see a whole lot of dragons or people slinging fireballs around, but maybe that's in a different part of the game. So I don't know. It caught my interest. I'll be keeping an eye out for that, but just purely because of the genre. Yeah.
It definitely was interesting. Then they stop it, and they are going to introduce a new Smash character, and we get finally an ARMS character is coming to Smash. I think people predicted that ever since launch. I was shocked we never got one.
Well, and I've been predicting it since the DLC, because the reason Sakurai literally said in one of the directs, like, the reason we don't have Rex and Pyra or Springman is because of time. They came out too close. Like, the only reason we even got Incineroar in is because I met with the Pokemon Company people ahead of time.
Yeah.
Before the game was even out, to be like, what Pokemon should I put in the game? So I mean, and keep an eye out for Rex, or Pyra, or the two of them together, because that's my prediction for another character from the past, and probably a Pokemon from Sword or Shield.
I kind of agree with you, and I think you could see a Xenoblade character get added in,
Which, as much as I dislike Xenoblade 2, I am actually kind of excited to see what they do if they used Rex and Pyra together. Because they could go off the rails and kind of make it look more like how things worked in the cutscenes than how it works in the actual battle system.
Yes.
Anytime you've got like a duo character, there's just a lot of room for creativity in the moveset. So
yeah. Oh, absolutely. I would love a Rex and Pyra, and I think Pyra, obviously would draw in some male gamers, and then I think just having the two of them together, I like having those paired characters. You could be really interesting things with those.
But I am very excited to see what they do with an ARMS character. Especially, my general prediction would be Ribbon Girl, because we have Springman as an assist trophy, and she's like the other main character.
Yes.
She's on the cover, and everything. But like, are we gonna get a character that has 5 jumps in air and more reach than the Belmonts? Because that would probably break the game.
I mean, Sakurai won't break the game. And like when Ridley
tripping to brawl would never, do something.
Yeah, but when Ridley was announced, it was like
Meta Knight. And Hero, for that matter.
Oh, that's
a competitive Smash. People are not happy about Hero at all.
He is strange and random. I think when Ridley was announced, everyone was fearful that the character is too big, and that's why he was never going to be there. And obviously, they shrunk him down. I think they tend to they balance out. I think obviously if she has a huge long reach, she'll have a huge negative as well. I always wanted to see Dalsum from Street Fighter in ARMS. So I don't know. I'm curious. I think you might be right with Ribbon Girl. I think they already have what Springman is already an assist trophy. And I'm trying to think of the other Min. I think is one of the more popular characters. Definitely could be her.
I'd vote for Helix if I was just picking favorites here.
Yes. Helix is the most unique and just funny looking. He doesn't talk. So we'll see what they want to do. Tim had an interesting theory about this one. He thinks that this is going to lead up because they're going to announce the character in June, which is going to be E3 time. So I imagine it's going to be during an E3 presentation, and they might be announcing ARMS 2 along with it. I don't think we'll see an ARMS 2.
I want an ARMS 2. I love ARMS. And this does tell me like ARMS 2 is going to happen. It might not be soon. I think people are jumping the gun on saying like it's going to be this year. But the tricky thing is you can't wait until a hardware revision because we don't know if the Joy-Con will be the same if we get, a whole new console, right?
Yeah.
But you also, the fact they're doing this free trial means like, they're still pushing for people to buy the original game.
And they can still get more sales for it. Yeah, no, it still deserves its due.
But this tells us that Nintendo still cares about ARMS. Nintendo still wants to move forward with ARMS, and I'm very happy to hear that I think it is vastly underrated because people are like hating on ARMS now, and that just makes me sad.
Oh, people have. I had the biggest drama in my gaming group over ARMS, I tell you. I love ARMS. I would play it more. I think it's just having to pull the Joy-Cons out. I always play with the Joy-Cons out. I love ARMS. I always assumed we'd never see an ARMS 2 just because of the unnecessary grief that it would get. But ARMS actually sold 2 million copies, which
it sold more than most fighting games do.
Yeah. And for any regular game, 2 million is great. But for a Nintendo game,
here are some Switch games that ARMS sold more than. Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle.
Oh, that's a crime.
Traveler, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Minecraft. That's the Switch version only.
Oh, okay.
Astral Chain, Marvel Ultimate Alliance, Enter the Gungeon, Captain Toad. All of those sold fewer copies than ARMS, and that's as of December. So,
and when you say that, I know that the sales of Astral Chain, like over 1 million or whatever, are considered really good for new IP.
Anything that breaks 1 million is pretty much a success. Not everything can be Pokemon.
Right. Yeah, and when you do a sequel, people get like excited because they kind of know the characters and they get jazzed. So you might get a little more jazzed up.
Everybody agreed. Even people who didn't like the gameplay from the trailers, everybody was excited about the characters.
Right.
And I'll admit, like the game, it needs some polish. It was thin on content at launch, which didn't help. And Splatoon came out a month later. Yes. I think if it gets a fresh sequel with a lot of weight thrown behind it and a bigger push, it could be a big thing. But I would note too that this free trial really, because ARMS, if you play it with the motion controls, which is the more fun way to play it, it gets you a workout. I think this is kind of meant as a substitute for all those people who can't find a copy of Ring Fit. I think the appeal is there for these new Switch owners, and maybe they bought a Switch because of the lockdown. They can't leave their house, and they want to get some exercise, and they want to play a game they can have fun together with. ARMS might be that game for them.
That's a stellar point. That is exactly that's perfect. Yeah, because they do seem to be kind of reselling this a little bit. You're absolutely right. Ring Fit is not in stores. I can totally see it. I used to play ARMS as a little bit of a workout. It may not be as big a workout as like a DDR or Ring Fit or anything, but it's a fun game to play. I'm super excited for it. The more ARMS, the better. I can't wait to see who the character is going to be. Maybe it's all a bluff, and it's going to be none of those characters. It's going to be the new ARMS 2 character. Who knows?
The other thing I've heard going around is it might be like Hero or Koopalings, where every color is a different character. Because I would expect whatever character it is, they'll mix and match weapons from everybody. Because you can even do aim.
Every character had such different personality. That would be a lot of effort for ARMS. I'd be a little surprised, but it is an easy thing to imagine, and they did show all the characters on the screen. I hope you're right. I would love to be able to play with any of them. That's a big effort.
Possible answer.
It is. That's a big effort.
It's happy.
That's a big
Except
effort.
people who don't like arms, but they don't deserve to be happy.
Screw them. Next is okay. So the next game that they announced, obviously, we knew about it, but we hadn't seen hardly anything about it. Bravely Default 2, and I think this took up the most time of all the games on the Direct. They did one of those. They did one of those classic Nintendo walkthroughs where they start going through like the details of every character, and people start looking at the clock and going, "Come on, we only have 25 minutes. Come on, get through this. I don't care." But I loved every second of it. Have you played the Bravely Default games?
I played the demo of the first one on 3DS.
Okay.
And just the demo. I kind of liked it, but I never got around. I got my 3DS. I was a late adopter of the 3DS. So there was a point where I didn't have a lot of games, and I just went through the eShop finding all the demos, and I played it then. And then I got a bunch of games for Christmas, so then I was backlogged.
Lost.
And got back to some of the demos I kind of liked.
Obviously, the demo didn't blow you away.
I can't help but look at Bravely Default and be like, why can't you be Octopath? Because I love Octopath. It's quite similar, but I just don't like it as much.
Yeah. Well, I will say when we put together a list of the top 10 RPGs of all time, I have Bravely Default on there. Bravely Default to me is one of probably a top 20 game all time to me. The funny part is, and I don't want to spoil the ending, even though the game's pretty old. There is something very interesting that happens at the end of Bravely Default that a lot of people recoil at severely. And when I ran into it, I was like, what is going on? And I stopped playing. That's how crazy it was. And then about a year and a half later, I can't tell you why, I was like, I want to play through the whole game again because I remembered how much I loved it. And I started from the beginning and played through it, got to that moment and pushed on. And I felt like such an idiot for stopping when I did. It's a great ending to the game. You just got to push through it. It's not a big deal. So I've played through that game essentially twice. And then I played Bravely Second. Really like that game too. I like the original better, but I really like that game too. And I actually restarted Bravely Default a few months ago. After like a couple hours, I stopped. But this is great. I am so excited for Bravely Default 2. And they shadow dropped the demo.
For the uninitiated, is Bravely Second... What's the difference between Bravely Second and Bravely Default 2? Is one of them like a side story or...
Well, it's probably going to be like Xenoblade and Xenoblade 2. The stories I do not think connect, but they might very well link.
Well, Xenoblade 2 they sort of did.
No, well, Xenoblade 2 kind of takes place way further in the future, and they don't connect story-wise.
Almost in a separate universe, yeah.
Yes.
But there's connective tissue between them all the same.
Yeah, but you can play Xenoblade 2 and never played Xenoblade 1, and you'd be fine. Bravely Second is a continuation of Bravely Default. Okay. I think Bravely Default 2 is just going to be a whole different story. And it is weird.
These characters in the demo weren't in the first game.
They're not in the first game.
The first game. Okay.
So it does remain to be seen if there is a connection between the two. But I'm going to imagine Bravely Default 2 is a game. And I think as you go across these systems, and you can't make these assumptions that a Switch player has played the 3DS game, because I don't like jumping into a series unless I've played from the beginning, that Bravely Default 2 was made to be accessible and a new story for people who had never played the 3DS games, and you don't have to worry about it. The demo, so they do this with the demos. When they put out the demo for Bravely Second, the story in that demo was not in Bravely Second. It was like a connecting story between the two games.
Yeah, I think I saw like when you boot up this demo, there's like a disclaimer or something like this is a side story just for the demo or something.
Exactly.
It's like when the Octopath demo, that was literally chapter 1 of the game. You could play the first like total 10 hours of the game if you were willing to go, and I did. I played every character's chapter 1. I had to restart the demo to do so, but you could do it.
Right. Yeah, this one is it's impossible to tell if this is borrowed content or what have you. You just have to wait for the game. But the demo is really hard. It's really
hard. I played it just before this, so Yeah, that seems to be the case, and it's because I heard people saying that, and I'm like, well, okay,
I'm a professional.
just need to get good.
Yes.
But yeah, it just seems grindy, which I like challenging RPG combat systems, but the thing is, if they become grindy, it's just a chore, right? I mean, it's a problem with all RPGs. They're really only difficult at the beginning and the end because you can always grind, and grinding's not really hard. It's just time consuming.
Right. And beyond that, I love grinding in RPGs. Like that's one of my favorite things to do. I find it soothing. People play Animal Crossing or play a puzzle game. I like to grind and get powerful and feel strong, But yeah, this game right away, they start you. I think all your characters start at like level 9, and they start you in the middle of the story. It's not like the beginning of a game, and yeah, you like fight the first group I ran into. They killed one of my characters before I ever got to do a move. So like when they're like telling you how to attack, I already had somebody dead on the floor. It was like, what? Like, excuse me? You pretty much, I mean, the hits just wipe you out, and it's random. And that's what makes it really annoying, because you could fight and hold your own, but a lot of times you'll just go in there and just get pounded by 5 guys.
My concern is, it seems to me like a lot of the game is just built around grinding. Is that the case from the 3DS games?
Absolutely not. No.
Okay.
And this reminds me of the Dark Souls demo, because people who had never played Dark Souls before played that demo, and they just started you in the middle of the game, and it was hard as heck. That's not what Bravely Default is. Bravely Default starts off wonderfully. Nice and slow, introductory, just like an RPG does. When you fight a guy and you're like, it's almost impossible to lose, and then you go around and not underpowered or anything.
Well, I mean, I think my concern is that with the Brave system, since you can just like go all out from turn 1, versus Octopath where you have to wait to use those boost points.
Yeah,
it seems like you reach a point where you can just wipe the floor with weak enemies, but then hard enemies are going to be really difficult. So then you just have to grind until the hard enemies aren't.
Right. One of the really great things about Bravely Defaults and grinding, because you could grind if you want to, but you can grind in any RPG. Some people will tell you they didn't need to. Is when you fight weaker enemies, you can just use Bravely and just unload 16 attacks and just finish it off. They also let you fast forward, so you can like zoom.
You can speed up combat, so it goes really fast. So you can grind really fast.
Yeah. So I will say, if you play the demo of Bravely Default 2 and you're like, it's way too hard and whatever, trust me, that's not what the game will be. I think it's very unfortunate that they made this demo. I don't know who their audience was, because there's going to be a lot of people who don't buy this game.
I do think, like with the Octopath demo, they are actually looking for feedback.
Yes.
So part of putting the demo out is to realize that everybody thinks it's too hard.
And, they're going to get a ton of that feedback.
Yeah.
I mean, everything else was great about it. I like that it's fully like voiced. Well, not fully voiced, but it's like mostly voiced, which I think the original games were like that too. I feel like there'll be more. Looks beautiful. They always had great art. But yeah, if you played the demo and you found it way too hard, trust me, that's not what the game is. I really hope they fix the demo or something, because they're scaring more people away than drawing them in. It's a wonderful series, has great characters. You don't let it just...
It's no Octopath, but I'm not writing it off just yet.
I will say I did love Octopath, but I didn't like the way they had the 8 separate storylines.
I like that.
Bravely Default is going to have, a main story and all that jazz. But hey, Octopath Traveler 2, I'm waiting for that. I'm waiting for the iOS version. That's still supposed to come out.
I think it is out in Japan, maybe.
Oh, I think you're right. I think it is in Japan. I'm dying for it. I haven't had a mobile game.
That is a mobile game I would play.
I would play the heck, yeah. So yeah, let's get Octopath 2 as well, if we can. Maybe second half of this year. Let's do it. Next announcement was Clubhouse Games 51 Worldwide Classics, where we all saw the announcer announce each one. That comes out June 5th. My first impression was, isn't this the shovelware game from the DS?
My first impression was, this is going to sell way more than it should.
Yes.
It's going to be the Wii Play of the Switch, although it doesn't come bundled with controller. But I think especially right now, people stuck at home, maybe they just got a Switch because they have nothing else to do. They're not familiar with a lot of video games, but they know how to play dominoes and poker and Go and chess and checkers.
Yeah.
And this is something that you can, or even, you have a Switch, but now you're quarantined with the rest of your family who doesn't like video games. Yeah. This is something you can all play together.
I absolutely
think it's going to do really well.
I think it will sell pretty well. People see it and go, "Ooh, it's 51 games in one. It's a great deal." I'm going to wait for reviews and see about this one because I'm worried that it's going to lack some polish. Everything looked really great. I tell you,
like in the past week, I've had friends who don't play video games, sending me links to play like Risk Online and stuff. They're finding all these apps just to play like online board games because it's something they actually already know how to play.
Yes.
So if somebody does have a Switch in their house but they don't really play it, they're going to be looking for this.
Yeah, a lot of people bought Monopoly on Switch too.
Yep.
I'll tell you what, if you can play the chess online, that's going to sway me a lot. I really like the toy games right at the end of that trailer with the bubble hockey.
The tanks one really reminded me of
Wii. Yeah. A lot of those last games, those toy-looking games, looked really sweet. Those definitely be more couch-up. But if I can play chess online, I've been waiting for a good chess game on Switch. These days, chess games tend to try to impress you with graphics, but they don't look as fun or accessible to play.
Weird thing to say about chess.
I know. Yeah, I've played. I bought a PS4 chess game, and not to go too off the rails, but that game just focused on 3D play, and I could never find a good view to actually play a game of chess where I could see my pieces clearly. So I was like, okay, I literally can't play chess in a chess game.
I had this old PC Lego chess game that all the chess pieces were Lego guys. And like depending which like board you were playing on, they'd be like pirates or knights or it was great.
I love a good chess game. Next game they announced looked a little bit like Splatoon, Ninjala. You're pretty excited about this one.
Splatoon vibes have been noted by pretty much everyone who looked at. I have been looking forward to this game. I had to remind myself what it was called, but it debuted, I think, last E3, I want to say. We've known it was on the way for a while. I did not realize it's free to play.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, it is free to play. Not sure how, I assume everybody's doing the Fortnite thing now, so I kind of expect that's what they'll be doing here too, with like a battle pass type thing for monetization. But because loot boxes have fallen under scrutiny. Mm-hmm. But it looks very unique, so I want it to be good. I don't know for certain it will be because it is an online multiplayer game, and sometimes servers aren't there, the connection isn't there, or there is just an exploitable strategy that everybody uses that makes the game unfun. So we'll just have to wait and see. But because it's free to play, hey, what do you have to lose? It's
Yeah, that art style was.
It's got bubblegum ninjas. I mean, what is what is there not like about that?
That art style is gonna. It's like those Zelda clone games, like Blossom Tales, where it's like they can put that on every system, but on a Nintendo system, you're gonna get an audience there. They're gonna be like, oh, that's a Zelda game, and so Ninjala just seems to be like. The whole Splatoon crowd is like, whoa, I know that game. Whereas
and it's
people
coming out at great timing because Splatoon 2 is not getting updates. Splatoon 3 is probably a little ways off.
And it's like 2 months away. Not too far.
Yep. But this is the highlight of the mini direct for me.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Ah, cool.
Well, that and the fact that I now know Nintendo still cares about ARMS as much as I do.
I love that you love ARMS. We really need to play. We've been talking about getting a little multiplayer night. I still am not super familiar with how the multiplayer goes because I never played ARMS with other people that I knew. But I love that party mode, and I'd love to see about
party mode is great. I really wanted them to do that for Smash Bros, and they didn't. They dropped the ball. I dropped the ball on Smash Online a lot of ways, but I think that would have been, because I don't want to set up like a room with rules for coin battle, but if you just shuffled that in, like, what mode are we going to get this time? Like, oh, it's coin battle? I'd be like, oh, cool.
Yeah. No, that'd be right. I like playing Smash, but like, you're right. Like setting up a game, it feels like overbearing. Yeah, we should do an arms night. All right. Well, okay. So then we just had a whole deluge of games that were announced, and a lot of these games we already knew about. So Star Wars Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy, Panzer Dragoon, which was supposed to come out winter of 2020. And March 20th was the last day of winter, but hey, it was only 6 days late. Was wondering where that was. Haven't heard any reports on if this game's good or not, but that's a pretty interesting one. It's based on an old game that people loved. Trials of Mana, which is the remake of Trials of Mana. Fuser, Elder Scrolls Blades is still coming. Warhammer 40,000, Mechanicus. Vigor, Saints Row 4, re-elected for people who play Saints Row. My favorite title of the bunch, The Legend of Heroes, Trails of Cold Steel 3. Mr. Driller Drillland, and last but definitely not least, Burnout Paradise Remastered. I'm really excited about that one. I may buy it. I usually don't get too into the car games, but I love watching cars get smashy in Burnout, so I might have to grab it.
All I know is I think Tim died and went to heaven when this was announced.
Him and his Asphalt 9.
And then going back to the Star Wars, I think you missed also Star Wars Episode 1 Racing. They did, so that's another port of a pretty old Star Wars game.
Yeah, that was the biggest like
Jedi Academy's out now.
Right.
But that was like Episode 1 Racing, the pod racing game.
It was a very big, oh, by the way, pod racing's coming out.
Well, I mean, the thing is, I have a roommate that he doesn't play video games much, but like that was his game. So he's super excited about it.
Wow. Well, good. I think it's something for everybody. I'm kind of interested in Elder Scrolls a little bit. I probably won't play it. Trials of Mana looks good, but I just played Dragon's Quest 11, and it just looks so similar, and it's like I'm just not really in the mood to jump into a game like that. So I think the only game I have a chance to go through is Burnout Paradise, and it's probably a game if I buy, I'll play for 5 hours and never play it again. I'm really bad with games that you have to put in a lot of daily time into. I just always end up dropping because I get involved in some story-based game. And the last game on the list I had left off was Minecraft Dungeons, which I've been looking forward to this. I love Diablo, and my son loves Minecraft, and it just feels like this perfect marriage between us. Yeah. And he's been really excited for it. I think he's really excited for it because he knows that I'm going to play Minecraft with him. And I'm sorry, dads. I don't play Minecraft. I can't stand it. I can't even pretend to stand it for my kids. I'm that kind of father. But I'm really interested in trying Minecraft Dungeons. I hope it doesn't disappoint. And they still say it's coming out in April. We still don't have a date. Very unusual for such a high-profile game like Minecraft Dungeons. Still no date, but that's still coming in April. Are you into Diablo, or are you interested in Minecraft Dungeons at all?
I played Diablo quite a bit. I liked it, but I didn't quite stick with it as long as I initially thought I might. I really wanted Marvel Ultimate Alliance to be like my Diablo, but it didn't quite make it there. It wasn't as replayable as I wanted it to be.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that's why I'm kind of like wondering if it's the same thing here, because it to me that was like the dream. This is like Diablo, but it's Marvel, and it just brings together two things that I like. But we'll see. We'll see how the Minecraft game works.
Yeah, I really enjoy Diablo. I've never gotten like super far into it, but it's almost every day I'm like, I'm going to start a new Diablo character, or the season's starting up, I'm going to play a new, character. But it's just that I don't like playing the same game over months and months and years. I'm just not that kind of player. So I usually stop way short of that goal. But yeah, Then they kind of ended it, I think, on a bit of a thud. They gave more information on the Pokemon DLC. I'll admit I kind of fast forwarded through it because I was kind of hoping there'd be something after it.
As soon as I saw Pokemon, I was like, what can they announce? Like, unless they're saying like, hey, guess what? We moved up the release date to now. Like, that's the only thing that would have really been exciting. Like, we knew what the DLC was already. There wasn't anything.
Maybe just a bit of filler.
Maybe they had something else planned and it couldn't. Maybe they planned on ending with the ARMS character and actually showing gameplay, but they didn't have that ready. It wasn't far enough.
Yeah, I mean, if they relabeled this as a mini at the last second, I could understand that for sure. And maybe that's why they labeled it a mini, because they knew it wasn't going to end on a bang. So it certainly was kind of a thud. But it was okay because I got Catherine, I got Xenoblade, I got ARMS character. I was pretty happy overall. What did you think about this? Like, scale of 1 to 10, what would you give this Direct Mini?
I mean, I'd say like an 8. I mean, part of it's just kind of tempering expectations because it's a mini, but I mean, I look back, it's not so much about the presentation as it's about like, what does the release schedule look like now after this? Mm-hmm. So if there was already a lot of stuff coming up, I wouldn't need a whole lot. And, I look at this, I'm looking forward to Ninjala. There's a couple games like King's Bounty, Shinsekai that caught my eye. I've got games out now that I'm playing, so I'm good. I mean, it seems like some of those games, like, I'm trying to figure out when I'd have time to play them. So to me, that makes for a good release schedule and thus a good Direct.
I think if anything, this pushes out the window, right? Because we said Animal Crossing was the last game we knew about from Nintendo. And now we've kind of pushed that window to May 29th, right? We have all the 2K ports and we have Xenoblade Chronicles. Mm-hmm. We have a few ports and games beyond it that kind of bleed into the summer. And we know that Bravely Default 2 is coming, and I think that's going to be a bigger game. Not going to be a huge game, but that's going to be a bigger deal on the Switch than it was on the 3DS. But it does move the window to May 29th. We know Xenoblade's coming. And then after that, we don't know. I imagine...
But, June is E3 time. I know
exactly.
Canceled, but Nintendo does Directs. They put one out even during the current circumstances, so...
Right.
We'll get a Nintendo Direct in June. I'm pretty confident. I'm a lot more confident of that than I was about one in February. I never thought there would be one in January because I remembered 2019.
Yeah, the same thing. I think they've set themselves up for June. I mean, they're going to announce the ARMS character in June, so clearly they're setting up for the next.
But I mean, I do wonder
Direct E3, whatever they call it.
The past 3 years, summer really, you had a very strong summer, ramping up all the way into fall, and then sort of tapering off, and then dead in winter, and then we pick up again in spring with a trickle. So right. I wonder if that'll be the case here, or we might get a lighter summer. I mean, I don't know. I still think Breath of the Wild 2 is probably targeting a December release, but that doesn't mean they'll make it. Especially now.
I
think they would love to have it out by December, but I think they're willing to delay it if it needs to be delayed.
I think they set themselves up.
Nintendo's gotten smart enough that they don't want to announce a December release date until they're sure they can make it. So I think it's going to be delayed behind the scenes. I don't think we'll ever get a release date.
Yeah, I think they've set themselves up for the June Direct with the Smash character. Definitely another Smash announcement at that time. And then I think they're gonna go. I mean, I think they were probably planning on going in with a Breath of the Wild 2 decor in E3, and obviously that's not going to happen. But I think that they're going to announce Breath of the Wild 2 for the holidays.
I think E3 could very easily show us a look at Breath of the Wild 2 and at Metroid Prime 4. The question is, I don't think either of those games are going to come out this year. So what's coming out this year?
Gosh,
they could
so
drop
many
some
games
very hype announcements, but if the end of the year is barren, then that, like, is that a good E3 or not?
It won't be. It is a little weird, but like I said, we know Bravely Default 2 is coming, and I know not everyone's excited about Bravely Default 2, but trust me, you should be. Bravely Default 2 is coming. We know that's coming, and There's a bunch of like
You'll
second tier games. I think we'll see. I think we'll see a Mario sports title. We saw rumors today about a whole set of Mario games. I have a feeling that could be something that we're going to see.
Yeah, well, Tom Nook has a bridge to sell me.
We still could see a Splatoon 3. We still could see a Mario Kart 9. There's a lot of those games. Mario Odyssey.
I'm still
2.
adamant. I think we see a Splatoon spin-off sometime soon.
I would love to see.
And the more I think about it, Splatoon Tactics. It sounds really great to me, but that's because I like those things.
Wow. Me too. I think that would be great. I think they definitely set themselves up for a lot of... We've gotten used to the Switch having mainline Nintendo games where it was like, here's the Zelda game, here's the Odyssey, the Mario game, and all that. And I think we're ready to start seeing sequels to these games. And I think we'll undoubtedly start seeing that this year as part of that. But maybe. And there's also the idea of, with coronavirus, some things are up in the air, and maybe they know, they know this game will come out, but we don't know a date. So they just don't want to be too specific. So a lot of these games that got dates are all ports and more predictable, I guess. I have to say, if I had to rate it, I would give it a 9. I was super excited when it was over. I'm going to be playing Xenoblade Day 1. I have a whole bunch of XCOM 2 that I will be playing this year, probably as soon as I finish Xenoblade. I was super excited for Catherine Full Body. I plan on playing that. And I was really excited about the Ring Fit content. That turned out to be a little disappointing. But at the end of that, I was just super excited for it when I was watching it. Bravely Default 2, seeing more content there, was excited. And the demo. I did quit on the demo and I don't usually quit on games, but I knew there was going to be a lot of grinding going on. And it's like, I'm not going to grind for a demo, so I'll grind when the game comes out. However, I am so intrigued after seeing Jesse. Jesse usually gets very frustrated with games. He was plugging through that demo until he quit on the dungeon. And now I'm like, what is this game hiding? Why did they make this game so hard? And now I feel like I kind of want to get back to it at some point and grind and see what's at the end of the tunnel there. I don't know.
I went to the dungeon and died, so I started going off in other directions. And if you go anywhere besides that little mountain path with the wolves and the path to the dungeon, the enemies are super strong.
Yeah.
So you can't. There's nowhere else to explore really without powering up.
I wonder if that's their invisible walls. They're just make the enemies just insanely hard. I know, but that just makes me fascinated. It reminds me of like a movie, like The Last Starfighter. What's there? There's something hidden here. It's like a Ready Player One thing. I need to figure out how to get the first key, So I might get back to that.
There is another game that I have been playing that was not in the Direct, even though it launched the day of the Direct. A little indie title called One Step from Eden, which is very interesting. It is also extremely hard. But it is a roguelike, so you kind of expect that. And it is basically, the easiest way to describe it is like Slay the Spire and Mega Man Battle Network had a baby.
I've never played Mega Man Battle Network, but I love Slay the Spire.
But have you seen Battle Network? You have the grid, and you get weapons periodically.
No, but I'm going to take a look at it now.
Will recognize this immediately. It was definitely designed to take this battle system and crank it up to 11 in terms of fast-paced difficulty.
I like some of the retro graphics on it.
Yeah, I mean it's got retro style. The music stands out to me. It's not really my kind of music, but it seems pretty well put together. It's got kind of I don't know what you kind of lo-fi, kind of electronic sort of vibe. It's pretty catchy. It works pretty well. The character designs to me seem all over the place, especially the enemies. Sometimes I'm like, what am I even looking at? What is this thing supposed to do? Oh, I guess it shoots fire. Okay. But it is, so there are 8 stages, and it's kind of like Slay the Spire. You have branching paths. You go from battle to battle. Pretty much, you're always fighting enemies. Some areas, and it'll alert you to this on the map when you make your choices. Some will have like hostages you have to protect. If you can beat the enemy without killing the hostage, then you get like an item, or they heal you a little bit of your health back. Or some will have chests that you have to destroy within a time limit, and you'll get an item. But so there's not really an overworld or anything. It's pretty much you go from battle to battle. Every time you end, you might get an artifact, which is like a passive boost, or you always add a spell to your deck. And basically, you shuffle through spells constantly, and there's no pause, so the game is very intense. But, you know, you play one spell, you always have two active. One you cast with A, one you cast with B. You've got mana you have to manage, which is constantly recharging. And there's a lot of interactions between the spells. So a lot of them, like, generate resources. Like, one of the easiest ones to use is the frost spells. Mm-hmm. So if you hit somebody with a frost spell, the enemy gets a stack of frost. When they get to 3 frost, they take a bonus 100 damage. But then there's other ones where it's like you cast this spell, on hit you get 1 flow, and then there's a bunch of other spells that'll say if you have flow, like cast this spell again for free. And so you're going through all this without being able to pause, trying to remember what all these spells do just based on their icons. Some of the icons look the same. It's like, okay, is this shield thing the one that reflects attacks back, or is this the one that boosts my defense? Should I try to get hit before I cast this, or I don't know? Or is this the one that goes in front of me, or is this the one that hits both sides of me? I don't know. So it's pretty intense, but, you know, like Slay the Spire, based on your progress, you earn sort of like a total experience that unlocks new spells, new artifacts. The other thing is there's multiple playable characters.
Okay.
But
I love that.
So the playable characters are the bosses. So to unlock a character, you have to beat them, but you have to beat them on stage 4 or later, which I have never beaten a character at stage 5.
Right.
I've unlocked 3 characters now. And they start with different weapons. Even their basic attack is different, which is interesting. But most of them seem like they're even harder to use than the standard one.
Right.
So, yeah, it's worth checking out. A fair warning, it is crazy hard. Some of those bosses, like at stage 5, I had one, he shoots these bombs, and when the bombs get hit, they blow up. And he literally filled my entire side of the field I could move around with bombs. So I couldn't move. I just had to wait for him to set off all the bombs and die. And I was like, okay, what am I supposed to do here?
It definitely sounds cool. The reminds me of Binding of Isaac, just the part where you mentioned, seeing the icons and having to remember what they were, because that was my biggest problem with that game, was all the items. I couldn't remember what they all did. But I love games like that, especially ones with unique mechanics. Slay the Spire was so much fun. I really want to get back to that a little bit.
I've been waiting forever for somebody to make a game with Battle Network's battle system, because I love that battle system. Mm-hmm. It's like almost the pinnacle of how to do like a active kind of RPG. So it's interesting how they handled that here. I kind of wish they kept it a little bit simpler. I like that they made it a little bit more complicated, because that gives you more room to work with. But yeah, the learning curve seems a little intense.
Yeah. Is it a new game or is it a port?
It's a new game. It came out on the 26th on Switch, PC, and I think on PlayStation and Xbox too. Okay. Cool.
I might throw that on my wish list. I love kind of games like that, and if it's like turn-based or like on a grid or any kind of strategy RPG.
Well, it's decidedly not turn-based.
Yeah, but it's got that sort of like grid sort of thing going for it. I like the vibe. I'm into that vibe.
Yeah, so you can watch gameplay and be completely sensorily overwhelmed by what is even going on. And that's what it feels like to play it.
Very nice. Very exciting. Well, I think that'll wrap it up. I am so excited that we finally got to talk about a Nintendo Direct on the show, and Drew wasn't even here. I think he's still trying to catch that stringfish. So Missed it, but God, we finally got to talk about a Direct. Oh my gosh. Our show notes for the last few episodes have always been maybe Nintendo Direct this week. But finally got to do it. But thanks for joining me on this one. I think we got a lot to play. I think this is going to end up being a good year for Nintendo. I think we'll get there. Now I can't wait for June. June is going to be so exciting. Yeah. It's only almost 2 months away. All right. So we want to thank the Nintendo Dads for letting us be a part of the Nintendo Dads family of podcasts. You can find us by subscribing to the Dads After Dark Show podcast on all of your favorite podcast apps. We're everywhere. If you're a Nintendo Dads patron, come hang out with us at the Dads After Dark channel on Discord. Let us know what you want us to talk about next. And you can follow us on Twitter. We are at NDadsAfterDark. And you can send us a question there, or you can send us a question to our email, dadsafterdark@nintendodads.org. And I will admit that I've been bad at checking that, so hopefully I don't have any questions sitting there waiting for me. Next couple weeks might be a little bit dry if you're looking for something new, but this Friday, the Coral Switch Lite, the Walking Dead version, is coming out April 3rd. Very excited. Maybe buy it at a curbside pickup near you. Well, thanks for joining us. For Sam, this is John. Good night, Dads.
Hey guys, it's Drew. Sorry I couldn't be on the episode tonight, but I know Sam's over there replacing me. I'm sure he's going to have a lot of better things to say than I have to do. I don't even know why you guys really need me, but I will miss you guys. All I'm going to say is I've been playing Animal Crossing every damn day since launch. The game is stupid. It's absolutely awful. I don't understand it. I hate it. But with that being said, I played it every single day since launch. It's addicting. I mean, you don't do anything, but you can't stop. I have to log in. I have to get my miles. I have to go collect my oranges. I have to go collect some fish. I have to see what the hot item of the day. I have to see the turnip prices. I mean, it's nonstop. I don't understand. It's like a cult. I just have to keep doing it. But anyways, Mole, Third Shoulders Mole, Sam, thank you for joining us. John, I miss you. I love you guys. But, you guys are going to kill it and keep going for it tonight. And I'll be back in a couple weeks. In the meantime, keep working on Animal Crossing, get your house looking pretty and cool, because that is our monthly Mayhem game, right? It is Animal Crossing, and of course the Retro Ice Climber. So if you're not making your house look pretty, make sure you're climbing some mountains. Guys, I miss you again. Thanks for the support. Peace.